Hello, beautiful souls. I'm Cynthia, and welcome to Discover Your Dreamz, where we blend spiritual wisdom and mindset mastery to help you create a life you love. In today's video, Unlearning to Relearn, we'll take some time to reflect on the patterns, beliefs, and identities we've carried, and explore how releasing them can open space for growth, clarity, and transformation. This is an invitation to slow down, breathe, and step into the person you are becoming. There comes a moment, often somewhere in the middle chapters of life, when the reflection in the mirror no longer feels like you. You recognize the face, the smile, the stories etched in the corners of your eyes, but something feels off, not wrong, just unfamiliar. It's the quiet moment when the question arises inside you: who am I really? Maybe you spent decades being everything for everyone: the caretaker, the achiever, the provider, the fixer. Maybe you've worn those roles so well that even you started to believe they defined you. But deep down, there's this whisper that says that there's more. Not more to do, not more to prove, but more of you to uncover. This is an invitation to unlearn. And unlearning can feel unsettling, can't it? Because everything familiar, even the things that no longer serve you, feel safe. We cling to old patterns, old identities, old stories. Not because they bring us joy, but because they bring us certainty. But what if the version of you you've outgrown isn't a mistake? What if they were just a stepping stone to the person you're becoming? Neville Goddard often said, you must die to one state before you can live in another. That death isn't physical, it's symbolic. It's the gentle release of an identity that has served its purpose. It's the realization that life you've built up until now was created from an old state of consciousness, a version of you that believed certain things about what was possible, what was safe, and what was allowed. Napoleon Hill taught that success begins with the definiteness of purpose, but before you can define your purpose, you have to clear the noise, the beliefs and conditioning that were never truly yours. You can't build a new life with the blueprints of an old one. Dr. Joe Dispenza reminds us that your personality creates your personal reality. Meaning who you think you are, your habits, emotions, and beliefs, creates the world you see. So if you want to change your reality, you first have to change your sense of self. That's what this journey is about, the sacred process of letting go of who you were told to be, so you can remember who you were always meant to be. So if you've been feeling lost lately, if you've been questioning everything or sensing that your life is asking for a shift, you're not broken, you're evolving. That's the natural rhythm of awakening. You're being called to unlearn the rules that kept you small, to question the limits that never belonged to you, and to step into the unknown, not as a loss of identity, but as an act of creation. Because to relearn yourself, you must first make space for something new. And that starts here, with awareness, with the courage to say, the old me brought me this far, but they cannot take me where I'm going. Let's start with a quick look at the old self. The old self isn't evil. And it's not broken. It's simply the sum of everything you've learned to survive. The thoughts you've repeated, the emotions you've memorized, the stories you've told yourself about what's possible. Dr. Dispenza explains that most people live 95% of their lives as a set of memorized thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. In other words, we wake up and start reliving the past. You open your eyes and immediately think the same thoughts you had yesterday. Ugh, another day of this. I wish I could change, but what's the point? Those thoughts trigger familiar emotions: frustration, hopelessness, stress. And those emotions send signals to the body that make you feel the same as you did yesterday. And because you feel the same, you think the same. It becomes a loop. The body, addicted to the chemistry of the past, begins to control the mind. We say we want change, but unconsciously our body is screaming, "No! I want to feel what's familiar." This is why real transformation feels so uncomfortable at first. You're not just breaking habits, you're breaking chemical addictions. Let me give you a simple example. There's a woman named Claire who went through a major life shift in her 50s. She'd always seen herself as the dependable one, the one who took care of everyone else, even when it cost her peace. After her kids moved out and her marriage ended, she said something that hit me hard. I don't even know what I like anymore. I only know who I was for other people. That's the illusion of the old self. It's a construct, a collection of roles and expectations layered on top of who you really are. Dr. Dispenza would say that Claire's nervous system was addicted to her identity as the caretaker. Even though it caused her stress and resentment, it was familiar. Her body didn't know who to be without that constant adrenaline and self-sacrifice. So what did she do? She started small. Each morning she began her day not by thinking about her to-do list or her regrets, but by imagining who she wanted to become. At first, it felt fake, but slowly something began to shift. She started dressing differently, speaking differently, walking differently. She began to feel free. And that's the thing. You can't become a new version of yourself while emotionally living in the old one. You have to teach your body how to feel the emotions of your future, peace, joy, confidence, love, before your reality reflects them. So here's a question for you to reflect on. What emotion have I been addicted to? And what emotion do I want to replace it with? Maybe it's replacing resentment with release, or fear with faith, or exhaustion with excitement. When you start choosing consciously, your biology begins to catch up. The old self, the old one who was built around survival, starts to fade, and the true self begins to emerge. Now that we've talked about the illusion of the old self, let's step into something much more powerful, the creation of the new self. Neville Goddard taught that imagination is not something you use to escape reality, it's how you build it. He said, man's chief delusion is his conviction that there are causes other than his own state of consciousness. What he meant is simple, but life-changing. Your reality mirrors your inner state. If your inner world is filled with doubt, regret, and fear, the world will faithfully reflect those feelings back to you. But when your inner world is filled with gratitude, peace, and expectancy, life begins to reorganize itself to match that vibration. Neville called this practice living in the end. That means you don't just visualize what you want, you live from it. You feel as if your desire is already fulfilled. You assume the consciousness of the person who already is in the version you are becoming. Let me show you how this looks in real life. There was a man named David who had spent most of his life convinced he wasn't creative. He worked in accounting, lived a steady life, and carried the same belief for decades. I'm just not the artistic type. But when he lost his job in his mid-40s, the ground beneath him shifted. Suddenly, the story he had told himself no longer fit. After one of our sessions together, something began to stir in him. He realized that his belief wasn't truth. It was just a script he had been repeating. He began to ask himself, what if I imagined being someone who loved what he did? What if I could feel that joy right now? In that moment, David wasn't just questioning his past. He was beginning to rewrite his future. I challenged him to try a simple practice to help him ground this new thinking. Each morning before getting out of bed, he was to close his eyes and imagine sitting in a studio surrounded by canvases, to imagine the smell of paint, the feeling of a brush in his hand, and the sound of music playing in the background. I reminded him that he didn't need to try to make it happen. He simply needed to feel it. Within a few months, he bought a small set of paints just to play around. A few weeks later, his art started attracting attention online. 2 years after that, he was running workshops, teaching others how to use creativity as a form of healing. David didn't become an artist. He simply remembered he already was one. That's what Neville meant when he said, to desire a state is to have it. The moment you truly feel the new state and persist in that feeling, your outer world begins to conform. Let's do a short exercise together. Close your eyes. Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose and release it gently through your mouth. Now imagine yourself 6 months from now. You've let go of the old version of you, the one who lived in limitation or fear. You're standing taller, you're smiling more easily, you feel peaceful inside, no matter what's happening around you. Notice what your day looks like. What do you see when you open your eyes in the morning? How do you move through your space? What choices feel natural now that used to feel impossible? And most importantly, how do you feel? That emotion, whether it's calm, joy, freedom, love, that's the signal to the universe that you're no longer the same. Stay with that image for just a moment longer. Let it imprint on your heart. Now open your eyes and whisper to yourself, "This is who I am now." That's the art of living in the end. You don't wait for your outer circumstances to change to feel the new you. You feel it first, and your world responds. By now you've imagined your new self, the one who lives from purpose, peace, and confidence. But here's the truth. Imagination alone isn't enough. To sustain transformation, you must train your mind to think, speak, and act in alignment with that new reality, consistently. And this is where Napoleon Hill's teachings become your roadmap. He wrote, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." That quote has been repeated so often it almost sounds cliche, but when you understand the depth of it, it becomes revolutionary. Because the two key words in that sentence are not conceive or achieve. They're believe and can. Your subconscious mind is the soil of your reality. Every word, thought, and emotional pattern you repeat becomes a seed planted there. If your inner dialogue sounds like, "I'll never recover from this," "I'm too old to start again," or "it's too late for me," then you're affirming those limitations and your subconscious will find ways to prove them true. Hill's concept of autosuggestion was his way of saying you can deliberately program your mind to accept new beliefs. Just like repeating old patterns kept you stuck, repeating empowering thoughts infused with emotion reprograms the brain to expect success. Here's how to use Hill's method in your daily life. Define your new self in one powerful statement. Write a declaration that captures who you are becoming. For example, "I am a confident, creative woman who lives each day with joy and purpose." Or you could say, "I am a man of vision, resilience, and abundance. My second act is my best chapter." Repeat this daily with emotion. Don't just say it, feel it. Say it in front of a mirror every morning and before bed. Feel the gratitude and excitement of that truth already being real. Guard your inner conversation. Hill called this standing guard at the door of your mind. Notice when old doubts creep in and replace them in real time. An example would be, if your old thought says, "I'll never find love again," switch that up and say, "I am love, and love is drawn to me effortlessly." Visualize success while feeling gratitude. This bridges Hill's autosuggestion with Dispenza's brain-body connection. Each time you affirm your new reality, see it in your mind and feel it in your body. You're training your brain to fire and wire new circuits of belief. Let me tell you about Laura, a client who came to me feeling invisible in her own life. She had spent decades as a caretaker, raising kids, supporting her husband's career, and by her late 40s, she felt like she'd disappeared. Her biggest fear was that she was too old to start something new. Together, we worked on rewriting that story. She created her affirmation: "I am vibrant, visible, and valuable. My gifts are meant to be seen." She repeated it every morning, even when she didn't fully believe it. She visualized herself leading workshops, speaking with confidence, and sharing her story online. And within months, opportunities began to appear. She started a community project, was invited to speak at local events, and eventually launched her own coaching practice. What changed? Her belief. She didn't become a new person overnight. She simply began thinking like the version of herself who already existed in potential. That's the true meaning of Hill's work. You don't get what you want, you get what you expect. And the beautiful thing is, expectation is a choice. If this message is resonating with you and you're ready to do the work on a deeper level, to really rewire your mind for success, I've created a workbook called Manifest Your Best Life to help you on your journey. Inside, you'll find exercises and prompts designed to help you shift from old programming into the mindset of your future self. You'll find the link in the description below. Now let's get back to today's lesson. When we talk about unlearning to relearn, what we're really talking about is becoming someone new on every level, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Each of my favorite teachers gives us a piece of that transformation puzzle. Neville Goddard shows us how to see it first through imagination. Dr. Joe Dispenza teaches us to feel it now through elevated emotion. And Napoleon Hill teaches us to speak and act it into being through conscious thought and repetition. When you integrate these, you stop trying to change your life from the outside in, and instead, you transform from the inside out. Let's look at what that process actually looks like in real life. Before you can become someone new, you must first see who you've been. This is where most people stop, because awareness can feel uncomfortable. You begin to notice the thoughts that don't serve you. I always self-sabotage. I can't trust people. I never finish what I start. But instead of judging those thoughts, see them as echoes of your past self, patterns that were created to keep you safe in old circumstances. Dr. Joe Dispenza calls this the familiar past, and he reminds us that the familiar past becomes the predictable future, unless you consciously choose something new. So when those old emotions arise, fear, unworthiness, regret, don't resist them. Observe them, thank them, and remind yourself, this is who I used to be, but it's not who I'm becoming. This is where Neville Goddard's wisdom comes alive. He taught that your imagination is not a fantasy, it's a spiritual faculty. When you imagine your new self, calm, joyful, confident, free, you're not pretending, you're creating a new pattern of consciousness. Every night before bed, imagine yourself already living in that version of you. See it clearly. The way you move, the sound of your voice, the people you attract, the environment around you. Then, and this is key, feel the emotion of that reality as if it's happening right now. This is where you merge Neville's and Dispenza's teachings. Neville said, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. And Dispenza said, the feeling is the secret signal that tells the universe you're ready. So don't just see it, feel it. That emotional signature is the new frequency you're sending out, and your outer world must eventually match it. Now comes Napoleon Hill's contribution, the discipline of repetition and focus. Every single day, remind your subconscious of who you're becoming. Affirmations, journaling, visualization, and gratitude. Those are not random practices. They are the tools that carve the new neural pathways. Remember, the subconscious doesn't respond to logic. It responds to emotionally charged repetition. If you declare, I am confident, just once, and feel doubtful for the rest of the day, nothing changes. But if you declare it daily, with feeling, with belief, with gratitude, your subconscious begins to accept it as truth. Over time, this consistency bridges the gap between who you've been and who you're becoming. This is where transformation becomes real. You visualized it. You've affirmed it. Now you act like it's already true. That doesn't mean pretending or faking confidence. It means embodying the energy of the future self right now. Ask yourself throughout the day, how would my future self respond to this moment? What choices would they make? When you begin to think, feel, and act like that person, your energy shifts, and reality starts reorganizing itself around that vibration. Neville called this living in the end. Hill called it faith in action, and Dispenza calls it the quantum model of reality. No matter the language, the principle is the same. You must become the energy of your desired future before it can appear in physical form. Let me share a story to bring this to life. There was a woman named Renee, a client who had always defined herself by struggle. She was 52, divorced, and rebuilding her life from scratch. Every goal she set, she'd unconsciously sabotage with the same thought: good things never last for me. We started simple: awareness, imagination, repetition, embodiment. She wrote her new self-concept: I am a woman of ease, joy, and abundance. I trust life completely. She practiced imagining herself already living that life: peaceful mornings, creative work she loved, and genuine laughter again. Within a few months, small changes began to appear. She received an unexpected job offer doing meaningful work, started new friendships, and even began dating again, from a place of confidence, not desperation. When she looked back, she said something profound. I didn't just change my life. I changed who I believed I was. That's the bridge of change, and every one of us can cross it. So now you understand how to integrate these teachings into your daily life. The next step is learning how to stay aligned, how to hold on to this energy even when the old self tries to pull you back. Becoming a new version of yourself is not a one-time event. It's a daily energetic practice. It's easy to feel empowered when you're meditating, journaling, or visualizing, but true alignment happens in the moments that challenge you, when old triggers resurface, when doubt whispers, when things don't look like they're working. This is where most people fall back into the old self, but this is also where your mastery begins. Each morning before you reach for your phone, check your energy. Ask yourself, what emotion am I waking up with today? Is this emotion aligned with the future I'm creating? If it's not, don't judge it, just shift it. You can use simple practices to realign. Take 3 slow, intentional breaths. Speak a powerful affirmation of your choosing. Recall one thing that genuinely makes you feel gratitude or joy. Dr. Joe Dispenza often reminds us that gratitude is the ultimate state of receivership. So if you can wake up already feeling thankful for a future that hasn't yet appeared, you're already tuning into that frequency. Change threatens the nervous system because it craves familiarity, even if that familiarity was painful. So when you begin changing, the old self will whisper, "See, nothing's happening. You're pretending. This is too hard." But instead of resisting it, smile and say, this is the old program running one last time. That awareness instantly weakens its hold. You can't fall back into the old self once you recognize its pattern rather than your identity. This is where consistency wins. Neville Goddard called this persistence in assumption. You must persist in the feeling of your new reality, even when evidence hasn't yet appeared. Because as he taught, you don't manifest what you want, you manifest what you are conscious of being. Dr. Dispenza teaches that emotion is energy in motion. When you feel frustration, fear, or doubt, that's just energy asking to move. Instead of trying to suppress it, practice gentle redirection. Take a short walk in nature. Do breath work or grounding exercises. Listen to music that shifts your mood upward. Emotional mastery doesn't mean never feeling negative emotions. It means not letting them become your address. You visit them briefly, then return home to peace. Napoleon Hill taught that words shape belief and belief shapes reality. So pay attention to how you speak about yourself and your life. Replace phrases like, "I'm trying to change" with, "I'm already becoming." "I hope it works" with, "I'm already working." And "one day I'll have it" with, "it's unfolding right now." Language is vibration and sound informed. When you speak from your future, you're anchoring that vibration in the physical world. Throughout the day, pause and anchor the energy of your future self. Even just 60 seconds at a time makes a difference. Here's a simple alignment practice. You close your eyes, take a nice, deep breath, recall the vision of your future, not as a hope, but as a memory. Feel gratitude as though it already exists, and whisper, "This is who I am now." Every time you do this, you're conditioning your body to live in that new frequency even longer. Over time, that state becomes your new baseline, your new normal. One of Napoleon Hill's most powerful principles was faith backed by action. It's not enough to believe, you must act as if. Even when the results aren't visible yet, your consistent aligned actions send a clear message to the universe. I trust the unseen. That faith magnetizes opportunities, resources, and people that match your vibration. Dr. Dispenza calls this the quantum field responding to a coherent signal. Neville Goddard called it the bridge of incidents. Either way, once you start walking, life begins to rearrange itself in your favor. A coaching client of mine once told me, "I keep getting tested. Every time I think I've moved forward, something from my past comes back." So I told her, "That's not a test. That's evidence of your evolution. You're being shown what no longer has power over you." And sure enough, once she stopped reacting in the same old way, the situation dissolved on its own because she had shifted out of the frequency that created it. You will fall out of alignment sometimes. We all do. But here's the secret. The faster you notice and return, the faster your reality stabilizes in the new energy. Here's a simple reset formula. Pause. Notice what's happening inside of you. Breathe. Calm your nervous system. Reframe. Ask, what's the higher lesson in this? Realign. Speak your truth. I am still becoming my future self. You don't have to start over. You just come back home. Alignment is not perfection. It's relationship. You're learning to stay in relationship with your higher self, your future self. your divine energy. Some days, you'll feel unstoppable. Other days, you'll feel human. Both are sacred, because in the end, alignment isn't about forcing the new self. It's about remembering who you've been all along. Now that we've built awareness, integration, and alignment, the final piece of this teaching is creation. Learning how to consciously co-create your next chapter with the universe. This is where everything comes together. Neville Goddard's imagination, Dr. Joe Dispenza's energy and neuroscience, and Napoleon Hill's mindset of purpose and action. You've released the old, redefined who you are, and aligned your emotions. Now it's time to step fully into your creative power. The greatest shift you will ever make is the realization that life is not happening to you, it's happening from you. Every experience, every opportunity, every relationship mirrors the frequency you hold within yourself. When you truly grasp that, you move from reaction to creation, from victim to visionary. Let's break this down through our three teachers, Goddard, Hill, and Dispenza, and weave in the practical ways to live it daily. Neville taught one of the most radical truths of the modern age. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and your assumption, though false at the moment, will harden into fact. He believed imagination is the divine act of creation. You don't wish for change, you embody it. How do we practice this? Each night before sleep, in that state akin to sleep, as Neville called it, imagine a simple, vivid scene that implies your desire is already real. For example, if your desire is emotional peace, imagine yourself laughing freely with friends. If your goal is abundance, imagine opening your banking app and feeling gratitude. If you want love, imagine holding hands with someone who feels like home, or simply feeling loved and whole within yourself. The key isn't detail, it's the emotion. You must feel it as though it's real. The subconscious doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. It only responds to belief charged with emotion. As Neville reminds us, change your conception of yourself and you will automatically change the world in which you live. So who are you choosing to be today? Where Neville uses imagination, Dispenza uses neuroscience to explain the same phenomena. He teaches that when thought and emotion align, they broadcast a coherent electromagnetic signal into the quantum field, a signal the universe can respond to. When you think about your future and feel gratitude for it now, you create energetic alignment between mind and matter. A daily quantum practice might look like this. Sit quietly and breathe deeply into your heart. Think of your desired future, not as out there, but as energy you're tuning into like a radio. Feel the elevated emotions that match it: joy, freedom, peace, or abundance. Stay in that frequency for as long as you can. Dispenza says, the quantum field only responds to who you're being, not what you're wanting. This means creation isn't about effort, it's about embodiment. When you become the emotional equivalent of your desire, the universe mirrors it back to you in form. Napoleon Hill adds a practical backbone. He reminds us that imagination and emotion must be supported by clear intention and consistent action. He wrote, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." But belief isn't passive, it's backed by decision. Hill's formula for creation begins with a definite major purpose, a clear statement of who you want to create and why. Try this exercise. Write down your definite purpose. It could look like, I'm creating a life filled with freedom, love, and impact through the work I do and the energy I embody. Then list 3 actions you'll take this week to align with that purpose, no matter how small. Each action becomes a vote for your future self. That's how faith becomes tangible, through movement. One of Neville's most beautiful teachings is the bridge of incidents, the invisible chain of events that unfolds between assumption and manifestation. He said, do not concern yourself with how it will come to pass. Simply rest in the knowing that it will. Often the universe rearranges your life in unexpected, even uncomfortable ways to bring your desire into reality. People exit, opportunities shift, routines break, not as punishment, but as preparation. So when things look like they're falling apart, remind yourself, this is the bridge being built. Dr. Dispenza would call this the collapse of old timelines. Hill would call it temporary defeat in the path of success. All three are describing the same universal law. The new reality cannot emerge while the old one still occupies that space. Let's look at a story that ties these teachings together. One of my clients, after years in a toxic job, finally decided to start her own holistic coaching practice. She told me, "I don't know how it's going to work. I just know I can't keep living like this." We used Dispenza's meditation to shift her energy from fear to empowerment, Neville's imaginal acts to see herself as successful, and Hill's method to clarify her definite purpose. Within 3 months, she'd built a small but thriving client base. Within 6, she replaced her corporate income. Her words to me were, "It started the moment I stopped thinking like the person who hated her job and started feeling like the woman who ran her dream business." What she did is called conscious creation. The final step in creation is surrender. After you've imagined, aligned, and acted, you must let go of how it unfolds. Control comes from fear. Allowing comes from faith. Neville called this the Sabbath, the period of rest where you trust your assumption to fulfill itself. Dr. Dispenza calls it the unknown where true creation happens, and Hill called it infinite intelligence at work. Your job is the what and the why. The universe handles the how and the when. You came into existence not just to survive, but to create. Not just to learn, but to remember. The old self served its purpose. The new self is waiting, not in the distance, but within your consciousness, ready to be expressed. So each day ask yourself, am I reacting from who I was, or creating from who I am becoming? Because that question, answered with intention, becomes the blueprint for your entire reality. Now that we've completed the full transformation, from awareness to identity, alignment, and creation, we'll close the lesson with a brief reflection. Take a deep breath and release. You've walked through some powerful territory, from releasing old identities to reprogramming fear, to remembering who you are and have always been, the creator of your reality. And now here you are, standing in the space between who you've been and who you're becoming. That's the sacred in-between, the place where everything shifts. Because coming home to yourself isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. Neville Goddard taught that consciousness is the only reality. Dr. Dispenza says that when you change your energy, you change your life. And Hill reminds us that belief, backed with purpose and faith, can move mountains. But underneath all of those teachings lies a single truth. You are already whole. You've never been missing anything. You've only been looking for it outside of yourself. The love you seek, it's already within you. The peace you crave, it's been waiting for your attention. The success you dream of, it's the natural outcome of alignment, not effort. When you live from wholeness, everything else becomes reflection. Living as a conscious creator doesn't mean you'll never face challenges again. It means you'll meet them in a new way. Instead of reacting, you'll begin responding. Instead of forcing, you'll allow yourself to flow. One way to stay aligned is to begin each morning with a moment of gratitude. Before reaching for your phone, reach for a thought that feels like appreciation. Even something as simple as saying, "Thank you for this day." It sends a powerful message to your subconscious that you're open to possibility. As the day unfolds, when fear, doubt, or frustration arises, give yourself permission to pause. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and ask, who am I being right now? In that quiet moment, you can gently shift back into the version of yourself that is calm, confident, and creative. And in the evening, before you drift off to sleep, take a few minutes to replay the day as you wish it had gone. This isn't about denying what happened, but about training your subconscious to expect more peace, more joy, and more ease. Neville called this practice revision. Dr. Dispenza might describe it as installing new neural pathways, and Hill would call it conditioning your mind for success. Different words, but the same power. When you live this work, you stop chasing change, and you start being the change. You move from needing proof to becoming the proof. And the most beautiful part, life starts meeting you where you are. People respond differently. Opportunities feel magnetized. Synchronicities show up like little wings from the universe saying, keep going, you're aligned. This is what it feels like to live consciously, to know that your inner state is the seed of your outer experience. It's not about control, it's about coherence. It's not about striving, but allowing. You've now learned how to unlearn, reprogram, and create, but the real transformation happens when you live it, when you start showing up every day as the person you've been imagining. That's when life begins to mirror your inner evolution. So as we close today, I want you to take one final deep breath and say to yourself, I am not who I was. I am who I choose to be. That is your declaration. That is your new frequency. That is your truth. You are no longer waiting for the right time because this is the time. You are no longer waiting to be ready because you already are. And you're no longer trying to find your way home because home is right here within you. Thank you for being part of this journey, for trusting yourself enough to do the inner work, and for allowing me to walk beside you on this path. If this episode or its series has touched your heart, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who's ready to remember who they truly are. Because the more of us who awaken to our creative power, the more beautiful this world becomes. Until next time, keep dreaming boldly, keep believing deeply, and keep creating consciously. Thank you for watching.